Friends of Honey Hill is an organization that was formed in 2016 to support the protection, preservation, restoration, promotion, and the interpretation of that battlefield site.
It has been surveyed. It is on the National Register. It's a very important site.
The entire parcel that was deeded to the town is a little over 90 acres.
It goes all the way from Boyd's Landing on the Broad River, which is down at the end of Salzburg Landing Road today, up to and a little bit past the Honey Hill battlefield site, and then almost up to Bees Creek Road.
This property is in a conservation easement. It'll never be developed. We're working closely with the State Historic Preservation Office, the South Carolina Battlefield Preservation Trust.
We have all of the major constituents in the area who would need to have a say in the process for everything to be successful.
The battlefield itself, the main part of the battlefield where the Federals launched these attacks against the Confederate lines, is still there.
The earthworks take advantage of all the natural topography here.
But what happens out in Ridgeland is a unique feature to the coastal plain, and it's an abrupt rise of about 15 feet in elevation. 15 feet doesn't sound like a lot, but from a military standpoint, 15 feet is incredibly significant.
This earthwork that I'm standing on is probably about 15 to 16 feet high from the bottom. And then on the other side were rifle pits.
But there still are actual trench lines and lunettes, fortifications out there.
This particular section of earthwork runs parallel to an old rice dike. These were rice fields back in the 1860s.
The locks and the controls of the drainage system that helped irrigate the fields and then let the water out, that's still there.
There's plenty of archaeological evidence that there was activity here.
A number of significant things have already been found by the South Carolina Battleground Preservation Trust.
The recovery of artifacts have become very sophisticated, and now with some of the new techniques and the new way of uncovering artifacts using both metal detectors and sort of the old stripping off the land, you can do such things out there as you can do at other battlefields.
The legitimate finds and artifacts are things that relate to the munitions at the time. A lot of canister, some actually intact or partially intact casings.
We are actually trying to recover a lot of these artifacts ourselves so they can be placed in an exhibit, cataloged, and preserved for future generations.
One of our key partners is the Morris Center for Low Country Heritage. And the Morris Center ultimately is envisioned as a repository for the artifacts that are recovered from the Honey Hill site, as well as a permanent display that's going to really tell the story of the Battle of Honey Hill.
As part of this campaign of Sherman's March to the Sea, the idea was to cut off the railway here in Grahamville, which is about a mile behind me.
This was a very busy battle. There was a lot going on. A lot of people involved, a high number of casualties, a lot of shot fired.
A number of fascinating personalities on both sides took part in this battle. You had, again, black troops, white troops, Marines, sailors, artillery, local units, militia units, Georgia reserves.
Out of 12 regiments, 7 were African-American regiments that fought at Honey Hill,
including those raised in Michigan, some in New York, some in Pennsylvania. The two more famous Massachusetts regiments were at this battle, the 54th and the 55th.
This is a part of our history that is fascinating. There's so many different levels and layers.
A lot of local units that are involved here, the Beaufort Volunteer Artillery, a lot of men from the Port Royal region, especially the Sea Islands around Beaufort, are at this battle. The 3rd South Carolina Cavalry is made up of a lot of locals, men from Edisto Island all the way down to the Savannah River. Its commander is a Colonel Charles Colcock, who is from around the Ridgeland area. I mean, there are still families here that have relatives who fought at this battle. There are federal troops at this battle who fought at the Battle of Gettysburg.
This place deserves respect and should be treated with respect.
And a number of Medal of Honors are given out at this battle as well. One of them just recently given about 20 years ago to an Andrew Smith, a black soldier who helped rally the men of the 55th Massachusetts by grabbing the flag as they charged against the Confederate works, and then later had to grab the state flag and with holding the flag in each hand, rally the men who had been driven back from this attack. Other Medal of Honor were given for pulling cannons out of the field of fire. Another was for pulling his commanding officer out of the field of fire and back to safety.
I think it's a story that has to be told, though, as we're developing the site and as this story is becoming known to a much broader segment of the population.
It's a wonderful site to visit. We do tours out there for different groups. Because there were Marines, I take Marines out to the site and we do tours of the area. It's very good for understanding small unit tactical movements.
We're now in the process of working on the battlefield site. We're completing an entrance road and parking area.
Echoing the master plan developed by New South Partners, the idea is to have stations where you can go and we'll have an interpretive sort of experience. People can kind of get a glimpse into the lives and the experiences of the men who fought.
We'll have docents available to guide people around the site.
This is a protected site. We do have signs posted.
It is private land. Trespassing is not authorized, and that there are fairly significant penalties for the removal of any items that might be found on the battlefield. And it requires a lot of site protection and preservation, as well as now a lot of restoration due to the effects of Hurricane Matthew.
Some tornadoes in the area that have taken down trees, that have disturbed the battlefield, not really destroyed its integrity, but we're going to have to be removed, which is going to be a very delicate, very expensive operation to do.
We have a lot of trees that have been downed on the earthworks and on the main pathways, so about 7 acres really needs to be intensively cleared. We need to build some fencing that's going to keep people on the various walkways and discourage them from trying to walk across the actual earthworks themselves. We need to put up some signage so that people will be able to go to the key sites from the battle.
And we believe our role as the town is to preserve this site for future generations.
We're very enthusiastic about it. We're optimistic about our ability to do it in manageable pieces over a period of time. As a charitable organization, we qualify to apply for various kinds of grants that the town of Ridgeland would not have access to. I think our next major effort is going to be membership, launching our membership drive, looking for sponsors.
And get involved, because we're always looking for volunteers, young and old, who want to be involved and want to be good stewards.
People who want to help with historic preservation, who want to help with the storytelling of this wonderful site.
It's a battlefield that really ties in this whole region.
It also gives people a renewed sense of pride in their history.
I really believe that the battlefield of Honey Hill is a significant enough site, once the story is known, that it will draw people to see some of the other sites that are around the area.